Have you ever been too drunk to stand? Were you fooled by the power of the Long Island iced tea, or did you eat too many rotten apples? A tipsy moose was found stuck in someone's tree, bobbing for fermented apples on the ground after eating one too many and falling into the apple tree. Once freed, she passed out on the front lawn and wandered back into the woods the next morning. Like humans, animals love getting high and have been recorded using common substances like alcohol and weed, as well as opium and a wide variety of hallucinogens. Upon discovering the mind-altering effects of these substances, they will go out of their way to find their next fix, sometimes even approaching humans looking for forgotten and unwatched drinks. Also, like humans, they can become addicted, often resulting in a shorter lifespan than those that don't. You'll be surprised by what some of these animals are using to get high. I was curious, so I did some research to find out, and boy, I found some wild stuff. I won't bore you with things like catnip. I'm going to introduce you to the alcoholics and the acid heads of the animal kingdom. Welcome to Animal Alcoholics Anonymous. Well, not anonymous, I'm going to call them out in order of how well they can handle their alcohol. First up, the biggest lightweight on the planet, the elephant. Despite being the largest animal on land, they don't have a functional ADH7 gene, which is what gives us the ability to metabolize alcohol. Their lack of this gene allows them to get white girl wasted off of significantly less alcohol than their astounding mass would typically require. They also learned that wherever they find humans, they will also find alcohol. And in December of 2010, Jason Burke, an author for The Guardian, did an article about the time these big old bastards went on a drunken rampage and pillaged a village in search of alcohol. Around 70 elephants destroyed 60 homes and killed 3 people on their hunt for the hooch that had been locally produced for a festival. These guys need to find a sponsor. Up next in the list, bees. These bumbling idiots can get buzzed on fermented nectar, causing them to fly erratically and bump into everything in their path. It actually looks just like watching your drunk friend try to walk down a hallway when they're completely sloshed. If they manage to make it home, wasted bees who bring back fermented nectar get dismembered by the guard bees that sit outside the hive like a DUI checkpoint, because fermented nectar can actually destroy the hive from the inside out. Several species of birds are known to enjoy their fermented berries, like a lot, often crashing into windows and crooning slurred songs, sometimes even falling out of trees. Vervet monkeys in the Caribbean like to hang around popular resorts and wait for tourists to leave their drinks unattended or forgotten before snatching them up and chugging them. Chimpanzees are often much more aggressive in their approach to acquiring alcohol. The Ugandan Wildlife Authority did a report on January 14th of 2004 about chimpanzees in West Uganda that were raiding illegal brewing setups and settlements that were encroaching on their natural habitat and getting drunk on the banana beer they confiscated. They became extremely hostile when inebriated, which led to 12 cases of a group of monkeys attacking small children left unaccompanied, and 3 of the victims were killed. Larger buffer zones were added between game sanctuaries and settlements to prevent the attacks, and since then, chimps have been recorded by scientists at the University of Exeter for a study about wild chimpanzees sharing fermented fruit socially. Now, these last 2 are actually functional alcoholics. Bats, this is a dragon, I don't have a bat. Bats have a tolerance for alcohol that could rival the Russians and can reach a blood alcohol content of 0.3 while still catching prey with perfect accuracy. The 2-ounce pen-tailed tree shrew will drink you under the table, sipping on fermented nectar all day. This is possibly due to an evolved ability to efficiently process alcohol when their food sources are limited to those with higher ethanol content. Now moving on to the toxin fiends who would have loved the 60s and 70s music scene. From late summer to early winter in Siberia, you can find reindeer flying high with the fly agaric mushroom. They're not in the sky though, because sadly reindeer can't actually fly. They're just tripping balls on the common red and white hallucinogenic mushroom known as the Amanita muscaria. Those who decide to join Rudolph guiding Santa's sleigh described experiencing the sensation of flying, one of the common side effects of the psychedelic shrooms. Reindeer herding shaman of the indigenous tribes of Siberia would partake in the consumption of these mushrooms for sacred rituals and would also give them as gifts through the cracks of the roofs, since the doors were usually snowed shut. Donald Feister, a biologist at Harvard University, suggests that the Siberian tribesmen who ingested fly agaric may have hallucinated that the reindeer were flying in a 2013 article explaining the theory that the story of Santa Claus originated from the mushroom-loving reindeer. But reindeer aren't the only ones who enjoy flying high on toxins. Many horses have discovered locoweed, a plant that is incredibly poisonous to them but sends them into space, often becoming addicted and eventually fall ill or die. Wallabies in Tasmania don't need to shoot up to do heroin. They can just graze in circles in the opium poppy fields, blanketing Tasmania's hills until they're floating in the clouds. Dolphins' version of lighting up with the homies is terrorizing pufferfish to get high from the toxin they release by chewing on the inflated puffer and passing it in rotation. Dogs will lick the backs of venomous toads to see colors. If they do this too often, they can get sick. Black lemurs in Madagascar chew on poisonous millipedes and rub them all over their fur. This acts as a bug repellent, but also gets them absolutely lit. You can enjoy Mickey Mouse, because I don't have a black lemur. Now for the wildest one of them all. Bears in Russia have found nirvana in a barrel of aviation fuel. Photographed by Igor Shpilinok in October of 2016, bears were seen huffing jet fuel for minutes at a time where aircraft would often refuel, then digging a shallow hole to lay in a euphoric stupor. One bear was also pictured boldly approaching a helicopter as it was being refueled. That reminds me of that Russian guy who has a full-grown pet bear. It's not all Russians, but it's always Russians. It's fascinating how many animals have discovered the effects of psychotropic substances and enjoy getting sky high, and it's funny how similarly they behave under the influence compared to us, typically just becoming dumb and clumsy. I hope you enjoyed learning about the toad lickers and the fuel fiends. Don't go copying any of these animals, and don't do drugs, kids.